Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Pipala Show. We are back. It's been a packed week. Apologies, no episode last week, but we're going to get right into it. Shannon Sharpe. Wow. So if you've been living under a rock, there have been accusations that Shannon Sharpe reportedly tried to choke a girl, or reportedly was very violent to a girl and threatened to choke her. We're gonna just do this, right? We're gonna jump into it. There's a lot of information here, and he recently stepped down from ESPN. So right here, we have a source from No Jumper. Now we're not gonna read the whole thing, but these are leaked texts that we will put on the screen. So it says right here, leaked text reveals Shannon Sharpe's accuser confronted him about unprotected sex. Quote, "No means no, Shannon." This is the picture of Shannon Sharpe right here, and this is his girlfriend at the time, or somebody that he was sexually involved with, okay? So this all started, to give you guys a brief just breakdown of what happened. I'm looking at this right here. So there were two recordings that were released about Shannon Sharpe. We've heard them, but we'll play them for everybody that hasn't heard it yet. Okay, so here's the first one, and it's pretty damning. So we're gonna play this for you. Here we go.
Get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. It is what it is.
what does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna fucking choke the shit out of you when I see you.
Okay, so that's right there what was released, and Shannon said, "You say that one more time, I'm going to choke the shit out of you." So, not good, not very good, not something that you want to hear. I don't know if Shannon Sharpe is innocent or guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty, right? But I'm just saying, I don't know how the court case will resolve. However, you're already not painting yourself in a good situation, okay? So that's one audio recording. Shannon Sharpe, he released a clip then online, talking about what's happening, and just accusing this lady of making an accusation that's false in his words. But this is how Shannon Sharpe responded to that clip that was leaked.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup.
You're begging this guy to release the whole alleged sex tape of you? What? A little bit wild, but nevertheless, he's saying he's innocent, right? Shannon Sharpe is saying he's innocent, and that they're not releasing the whole video, that they were going to release like a 32-second clip, and he's saying this was all consensual. Okay, so there's that. But let's put this all in perspective. Shannon Sharpe is a huge media personality, huge podcaster, had the highest viewed podcast episode of, I believe, 2023 or 2024, where it was him and Cat Williams, right? Right, we understand how big that was, okay? It's a huge deal. Well, after this whole thing happened, there was a lot of talk. Is Shannon Sharpe going to be on ESPN? What's going to happen with Shannon Sharpe? And we see right here that he is officially stepping away from ESPN in light of the rape charges that are against him. So this is huge, right? This is not good, because Well, first off, if he is innocent, it's very sad that he has to go through all this. It's just not a good situation for the victim or for him. It could be just another example of a shakedown, right? Like something that you saw with Jay-Z and has been proved to be false. And it brings a lot of questions to the fold about Shannon Sharpe's choices. Like, yeah, I think this girl was like 19. And so people were saying online, like, bro, you're like 56, 57, like you're pushing 60. What is the point of going after these young women when you could get settled down with somebody? You look for somebody to fall in love with, somebody to marry. And believe it or not, somebody actually called Shannon Sharpe out on this on his own podcast, believe it or not. And so you might not know Monique. Some people might know Monique, but he had this comedian on his podcast a while back, had to have been around a year, and she's asking him, Shannon, why don't you get settled up? You know, why don't you find somebody, right? Just listen to what she said here, because this is kind of foreshadowing a little bit, because she kind of warns him, like, watch out. You know, you have to find somebody to settle down with, and he didn't get the message.
Dating. What advice? If somebody, if a group of women were in here and it's like, come on, they talk to us. How this dating thing? Because it's Mo is different now than when you and I.
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
Are you trying to say what you trying to say?
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs.
Let me be my life.
Let me tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young bitches and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it. Dang. When they want you to go for the fourth round, you looking at her like, bitch, listen, you want some money to go to Starbucks?
Yeah,
because I can't go no further. But if you get your older girl, when you get to that fourth round, she's going to say, hold on. Let me go get you some eggs and cheese.
And this is something that is true. This is something that Monique literally warned him about it. And it's almost like he didn't listen. Like, people have been saying this about a lot of people recently, right? You talk about Pacino. Al Pacino is like almost 90 years old and recently had a kid with his girlfriend. You talk about De Niro, who is with a younger woman. You talk about somebody like, and this is crazy too, you talk about somebody like Bill Belichick, who is 73 years old dating a 24-year-old. What? It doesn't make sense. If you're an old guy, I mean, I get it, right? If you're an old guy, you got the money, you got the fuck you money, right? You're gonna want to be with a young lady, right? Whatever. But if you don't want to get in trouble, I'm pretty sure marriage, or at least date an older woman, somebody within 10 years of you, 10 to 15 years, should not be that hard. You should definitely check that out. Growing old with somebody, it's real. Like, the tales of marriage, like, yeah, these guys are probably, I would imagine, fearful of marriage. Shannon Sharpe in particular, because he has so much money that if a divorce were to come, a woman would go after his money. But bro, you're just dating this girl. You might even not be dating. You might just be hooking up. And she's coming after $10 million. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense here why you would continue to go after young women after you just are continuously getting older and older and older and older. I just don't understand. Like, why can't you stay with anybody? You know? But that's not all. So there was a recent taping of Shannon Sharpe's his Nightcap podcast, right? And, you know, he commented on the subject of what he's currently going through. It's quite fascinating here. He was snapping at somebody off screen, so we'll play that for you guys as well. We'll see if the clip loads. We'll see who he was yelling at. If we're able to see, might not be able to see here. So here we go.
I only heard from two teams. Guess what the two teams that called me, Ocho, say, what's your phone number? Where you going to be?
Who that?
Shut the fuck up.
Oh.
Next door. Cincinnati Bengals was one.
I don't know what to make of that clip. Okay, but going forward, okay. So he steps down from ESPN. He's not leaving, by the way. It's not permanent. I just fact-checked myself in real time. But it's very interesting, that particular podcast episode where the actress, comedian Monique, she just goes after him and says, like, listen, like, you can't do this. This is not sustainable. You need to find yourself. And she's joking. She makes it funny. But she said, you need to find yourself an old woman. And I like Shannon Sharpe, dude. I don't like what's happening. I think he could be innocent, although the voice recording where he says he's going to choke the shit out of that girl, not doing yourself the best service. I will say that. But I hope if he's innocent, man, that he's able to just win back the public, because the public's kind of like 50-50. And Stephen A. Smith was forced to comment about it on his podcast. And I don't have the clip here, but basically he was talking about how he's not going to put himself at risk. He's worth so much money to ESPN, and he has all these other different goals. Basically said how he will never be caught playing loose like that. So hopefully Shannon Sharpe learns and he's able to just, for lack of a better term, just calm down. That's all. The transition. I know we love the transitions around here. Tucker Carlson. You know Tucker. Everybody knows Tucker. Some people like Tucker. Some people don't like Tucker. I'm a fan. Tucker Carlson recently called out Ben Shapiro for his support of Israel during the Israel-Palestine war, and also his support of Ukraine. So we're going to watch the clip, and we're going to react to it. What do you guys think? Give me a sub. Give me a like in the comments. Here we go.
Responsible, normal, non-hateful people should have an open conversation about what the right next steps are,
and the risks.
In all kinds of different theaters, and the risks. That's exactly right. And you can't,
Do you
because
think...
all of a sudden you've got Ben Shapiro being like, oh, you're sucking up to Putin. You're anti-Semitic. It's like, son, sit this one out. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're a child, actually. Responsible, normal.
So he called him a child. That's interesting. I mean, this is true. We've said it a bunch of times on the show, and I'll say it again. For me, Ben Shapiro, obviously he's not a child to me. But to me, Ben Shapiro was somebody that I looked up to for probably a little bit more than a decade. Get situated here. A little bit more than a decade, I looked up to Ben Shapiro, bro. Ben Shapiro was cool. He came up around 2012. He would have those viral clips of him debating people on college campuses. Kind of sort of like Charlie Kirk. And you saw viral clips of him debating that I believe it was that trans pilot, Zoe Tur, and just continuously, more or less, building up what the modern right is today, right? Through rigorous debate, just factually correcting points and stuff like that. And he won notoriety for it, man. He was the conservative. He was the number one conservative overall when you come to, like, you look at the foundation of the internet and how the internet continued to grow in popularity year after year. And he was also, like, the only Obama-era pushback from conservatives online. Now you had the mainstream news. You had, like, Tucker Carlson. You had Rush Limbaugh on the radio. You had people like Sean Hannity that were still there. Of course, Bill O'Reilly, a big critic. Megyn Kelly, I believe she was on Fox News at that time, but I could be mistaken. And this is somebody, like, the Fox News was always on. When I was a kid, I would always watch. And just through my observation, like, this is what the modern right became, all on the internet. But Ben Shapiro was the first. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Ben Shapiro was the first. And so when the whole October 7th disaster happened, which was a tragedy, nobody is saying it wasn't a tragedy. It was a tragedy. But to see Ben continuously, and I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again, but to see Ben Shapiro continuously go on and on and on and warmonger and call all of the civilians in Gaza animals. Like, he legit said this. people, not just Muslims, okay? Which, whatever. But there's Jews, there's Christians that live there. And it's just like you're having innocent civilians suffer just because of this tragic thing that happened, yes, but now they're going overboard. The rest of the world is seeing it. And I get a little bit emotional talking about it too, because it's not right. I shouldn't have to see videos of babies' heads being blown off, and these people are living in hell, and we're not doing enough as a country to be able to help them. It feels like we continue to aid Israel in all of the money that we're being sent over there for the weapons, and it's just not right. And so I don't appreciate somebody like Ben Shapiro that I've looked up to him my whole life. And I know a lot of young men like myself, Gen Z millennials, have also really been fans of Ben Shapiro, and to see him going after people that don't support Israel, calling them anti-Semitic when it's not true. We just don't want people to be dying with our taxpayer money. It's just what it is. And for him to say, oh, no, you should be canceled, you're anti-Semitic, you shouldn't have a voice, is going completely 180 in the opposite direction of what he advocated for years. Conservatives were being censored online, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and he was fighting it. He was like the only one fighting it for a long time. And to see him become a villain, it's sad, man. It's very disappointing. And it's like, you were somebody that I look up to, and a lot of people looked up for a long time. You changed a lot of young men's minds from maybe they were on a path to vote Democrat and have more of a liberal mind to more of a centrist or even right-wing mind, thinking with those principles that you fought for online for so long. And it's very frustrating to see one of the heroes, one of the good guys, turn to the dark side. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I want to go back to the Shannon Sharpe thing, and I usually don't go back on points, so bear with me here. But everybody knows Dr. Umar. If you don't know Dr. Umar, Google him. He's an entertaining guy. But I was talking about the Shannon Sharpe allegations earlier, and Dr. Umar claims that Shannon Sharpe's allegations are much deeper than we think. So he's talking about Shannon Sharpe having an upcoming $100 million contract. And I believe it was for his podcast. So listen to what he says. This is very fascinating.
You are not going to convince me that a 19-year-old OnlyFans model, I don't care if she's black, white, brown, yellow, or red, you are not going to convince me that if you offer a 19-year-old OnlyFans model who sells videos of her body for cash apps on the regular, she sells videos and pictures of her body on the internet for cash apps, and she gets offered $10 million to walk away when she only asks for 50 grand. Think about this, Art. She only asks for 50 grand. Shannon Sharpe says, I'm going to give you 10 million to walk away. And she says no. Art, do you know of anybody on OnlyFans? Do you know of any 19-year-old teenager who, if offered 10 million to shut up and go away when they only wanted 50 grand, do you know of any 19-year-old girl who is not going to take the 10 million?
Anybody taking 10 million?
Thank you. You on OnlyFans. You making money by selling your body, so you clearly not doing too well in these streets. You get offered 10 million and you turn it down? I believe the NFL power structure, or maybe the white media power structure, or maybe the white podcast power structure. Somebody was jealous of Shannon Sharpe's upcoming $100 million contract. Somebody was jealous of Shannon Sharpe's upcoming $100 million contract, and they intervened at the level of Tony Busby, or they intervened at the level of Gabriella Azu-Nix. One or the other. Because ain't no 19-year-old OnlyFans model turning down no 10K. Somebody wanted Shannon Sharpe embarrassed. Somebody wanted Shannon Sharpe humiliated. Somebody wanted Shannon Sharpe's financial future destroyed.
Huh. He makes a good point. So with Shannon Sharpe, we played that video a little bit ago, probably 15 minutes ago, where he responds to the recording that came out that Tony Busby released. And Tony Busby was the same lawyer that went against Jay-Z. And I believe he was the same lawyer that went against Deshaun Watson as well. Don't quote me here, but notorious for going after prominent black athletes, black celebrities. But this is interesting because it does come quite close to when Shannon Sharpe was thought to get this $100 million contract, this $100 million podcast contract. Now, I don't know if it's the podcasting industry or if it's somebody, but Dr. Umar does make a very good point. It's very hard to argue with him on this one. It's pretty sus. And like I said, I'm pro Shannon. I really like Shannon Sharpe. I really like what he's doing. You've never seen somebody be able to transition from sports talk to podcasting. Like, it's not something that's ever really been done before. People really, Stephen A has done this now, and Skip has tried to do it. But Shannon Sharpe has been the number one person in terms of being able to take like a TV personality, a sports TV personality, and then at nighttime, you have this podcast, which, by the way, happens to be arguably the number one podcast on YouTube. Like, he's very successful, and he was going to get this deal. I don't know. Somebody says right here in the chat, and I'm not going to pull this up, that leaked IG live of him fucking was just the beginning. Quote unquote, they put pressure on him to delete the Cat Williams podcast, but he refused. This is retaliation. Somebody else said, unless she actually was really sexually assaulted, for a lot of people, money doesn't solve, quote, everything. But waiting for the facts rather than wanting to be right about the truth is always a great rule of thumb for outside observers here. That's what I'm saying. Let's just wait for the facts. We don't have to throw around accusations. Shannon Sharpe still, contrary to popular belief, is still innocent until he's proven guilty. That's what it is. But this is very interesting. We'll see. I have a video. We're going to transition again. We're already, by the way, what do you think? It's been about a week and a half since I podcasted. Just taking a couple of days off. Just trying to, get everything right. Real life shit. Kind of, piling up. But we're good, man. We're good. I appreciate everybody watching. And just really grateful for you. Anyway, we're going to transition. Here we go. I mentioned Stephen A. Smith a little bit ago. But recently now, Donald Trump was asked about Stephen A. Smith potentially running for president. Because Stephen A. for the past 6 months or so has been floating out the idea. Maybe he'll run in 2028 as a Democrat. And Donald Trump actually commented on this with Bill O'Reilly and Chris Cuomo. And listen to what Donald Trump said about Stephen A. Smith running for president. Here we go.
Stephen A. Smith may run for president, as you know. Do you have any advice for Stephen A. If he launches the run?
No, Stephen A. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I love watching him. He's got great entertainment skills, which is very important. People watch him. A lot of these Democrats I watch, I say they have no chance. I've been pretty good at picking people and picking candidates, and I will tell you, I'd love to see him run.
All right, there you go. Stephen A. Smith may run for president.
That's awesome, man. By the way, I hope he does it. I hope he runs. I think it'll be fun. And I think he can win as a populist candidate from like the center or moderate left. And I think I would vote for him too. And not just based off of the sports personality, obviously very entertaining. Trump's right, you need to be entertaining as a candidate. But, if you look at some of Stephen A.'s former positions and positions recently that he's just conveyed to the public, I think that podcast that he does is very good. I think it helps people to be able to articulate who he is, and he's able to articulate different perspectives and stuff like that and call out both sides, which is very important. I don't know how he would do in terms of foreign policy. I'm not really sure how that would work, but it's definitely something that I would do. I would vote for him, truthfully. I don't think that anybody would discount him. You saw you saw somebody like, what was the guy's name? It doesn't matter. There was a top Democratic strategist that was shitting on him, saying that he doesn't know anything about politics and he should stick to sports. But this guy had got the election wrong in 2024 and thought Kamala Harris was going to win. And so you already see people in politics try to gatekeep. But I think Stephen A. could do a lot of damage in politics. I'm trying to bring up a clip of him just talking about different things here, different political opinions. Obviously, Trump took him and endorsed him, which is kind of cool. But here we go. Okay, so here's him talking about Democrats. I was looking for this clip. I'm so happy I found it. Here's Stephen A., who he's said by himself, like, I'm an independent, but I'm more likely to vote Democrat. However, here's Stephen A. unloading on Democrats that refuse to work with Trump. This is important.
I've heard politicians on Capitol Hill saying, I'm here just to disagree and oppose every damn thing Trump wants to do. Well, why are you up on Capitol Hill? Ain't you supposed to be figuring out what you want to be against and what you could potentially be for? Isn't he known as a deal maker? Hasn't he been, whether it's revered or insulted, as a non-politician? Hasn't he been somebody that gives you the impression, if you're complimentary towards him about some things that he does, and you're willing to sit down and talk with him, he will sit up there and appease you just the way he would ask you to appease him? If you're not willing to talk and work across the aisle on Capitol Hill, what the hell are you up there for? So that is what came to my mind. You have to work with people you dislike, people you disagree with, people who you know in your core, in your core, do not have you, nor your communities, nor your constituencies' best interests at heart. You still have to work with them.
This is Stephen A. Smith talking about, you see the bottom clip right here. It says D.L. Hewley, which is a comedian, but he's really on the left. He ripped Saquon Barkley and the Eagles and went to the White House for the Super Bowl celebration. And this is just Stephen A. Listen, I think he's quite intelligent. Love his sports personality, but, like, I don't know. As a populist candidate, like I said, I don't know about foreign policy. I have no clue what he would do foreign policy-wise. I'm very inexperienced. Never ran for politics before. But James Carville, by the way, is the guy that was shitting on him. But, I mean, you see somebody like Stephen A., and we're not going to watch that clip anymore. That clip's done. But you see Stephen A. as somebody to call out his own side. And it's very interesting. We'll check on this development, and we'll see what happens in the future. But I'm very encouraged to see this. Because, like I said, I might even vote for him. So there's that. What else do we have here? A lot of news. There was a clip. There was a clip that I was trying to find. Here we are. Okay. So we were talking about Matt Walsh. And we were talking about the Daily Wire. Not Matt Walsh, sorry. We're talking about Matt Walsh right now. We were talking about Ben Shapiro. And how Ben Shapiro has completely turned his back on his audience, and he's now gone cancel culture, but from the perspective of Israel, and he's warmongering, and he wants Palestinians to die. It's tragic. But people are saying Matt Walsh is going to leave the Daily Wire, and this clip specifically is what people are referencing. We're going to play this for you. Here we go.
What did you think of the debate between Dave Smith and Douglas Murray on Rogan a couple of weeks ago? Did you watch that? And
I did. I watched. I ended up watching. I wasn't planning on watching the whole thing, but I watched the whole thing. I'm constantly hearing from the peanut gallery demanding that I kind of give my verdict or my take on Israel and Israel versus Palestine and all.
Here we go.
All this kind of stuff. And I have given my take. And my take is I don't care that much. I'm not just America first. I'm an American chauvinist. And that.
You already know Ben Shapiro's in the background, like. He comes out of a hole in the ground in the middle of nowhere.
I only care about my own country. I honestly don't care about other countries. I wish the people of other countries well. I think they all have a right to defend themselves, and they should. I think that if you can't defend yourself as a nation, or if you can't survive without being propped up by another government, say ours, then you shouldn't exist as a country.
Wait.
I feel like this is a mainstream perspective here that keeps getting more and more attention, but this is correct. If you are a foreign government and you cannot survive without the aid of the United States, you should not be a country. I completely support that. And what he says about Israel is very true. Why should Israel continue to rely on us when the United States spends billions and billions of dollars still on weapons that are going to kill innocents? I just don't understand. And furthermore, why is Israel our greatest ally? Has anybody ever really answered that question? Because nobody seems to tell us why Israel is, quote unquote, our greatest ally. Last time I checked, we fight their wars. So there's that. There's conspiracy that they attacked us. Not just the conspiracy of 9/11, but they also attacked the USS Liberty, which is real. And they covered it up. They killed Americans. There's that. And they have the biggest lobby. We never talk about this, right? If China or Russia had a foreign lobby and they donated to politicians' electoral campaigns, because that's how you can pay them legally, if they paid our politicians and they got our politicians to vote how Israel or how China and Russia wanted them to vote, we would think this is unconstitutional, this is wrong. But because it's Israel, our greatest ally, because Israel is giving money to our politicians and then making our politicians vote however Israel wants, I guess it's okay because it's our greatest ally. This is the biggest lobby, not just the biggest foreign lobby, the biggest lobby in Washington is the Israel lobby. We let this foreign country dictate what our politicians do. That's just it. Most of our politicians, let's say 90% of our politicians are puppets, including Donald Trump at times. This is true. And when you find out that the Democrats and the Republicans play for the same team, Israel, and Israel just says, oh, puppet, the blue puppet over here is going to go against the red puppet. And we're just going to make them fight. And we're going to make the people fight too. So you don't see what we're really doing, which is controlling the puppets to influence dissent and influence what the people think. It just never makes sense. And there's... It's mostly boomers, but you see some people that are Gen X say, oh, the Jews, they're not the Jews, but Israel, it's God's chosen country. And this isn't an anti-Semitic thing. Because, I really think that everybody deserves to live in harmony, regardless if you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish. But just the fact that it's Israel, and there are a lot of Jewish people that are really opposed to what Israel's doing. Even in Israel. So the country's not bad. But the government, I really don't agree with what the government's doing. And I know a lot of people around the world don't as well. But going back to it, this country, this government, this foreign government controls what our politicians do. And so a lot of people are waking up to it, including mainstream conservatives like Matt Walsh. Let's finish the clip.
Wait. If you can't exist without being propped up by another government, say ours, you shouldn't exist. Yeah. Israel cannot exist without being propped up by the United States.
You think so?
Its nuclear program came from the United States. Its weapons come from the United States. Its economy is supported by the United States. I'm not attacking Israel. I'm just saying in point of fact, I think that's true. I mean, Israel thinks it's true, or they wouldn't have armies of lobbyists and influencers in the United States.
What did I just say? Folks, come on. More and more people are waking up to this fact, but the majority of Americans still don't get it. A foreign country controls all of our majority of our politicians, and nobody seems to care. If our politicians actually made decisions on just behalfs of themselves, right? If they just made selfish decisions and made decisions based off of making money for themselves, not on behalf of a country, sure, we would be mad. I mean, they'd still have a low approval rating, but at least it would be our country. And we wouldn't be controlled by another country. But in this scenario, we're still being controlled.
States, Bibi wouldn't have shown up twice in the past 3 months.
From my perspective, it seems like they can handle themselves quite fine. But
he has to say that, by the way. He still works at the Daily Wire.
Any country, if there is any country out there that fundamentally cannot exist without being subsidized by American taxpayers, then not only should that country not exist, but that country already does not exist.
Yeah. It's a great point by Matt Walsh. More and more people are waking up to this fact, and when you wake up to this fact, you get red-pilled on this. You'll get red-pilled on a lot more. But like I said, more and more people are waking up, but not enough people know. So there's that. Yeah, man, it's just really interesting. It's really interesting how all of this stuff is happening with our government, and hopefully more people get it. Can we talk about Thunderbolts real quick? We're going to transition one more time because I'm so excited to see this movie. We're seeing, me and 8 other people in my family are going to see this movie on Friday. And boy, the reviews are really, really good. Thunderbolts debuted with a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Currently, it's at 90 right now. Just looking at the reviews and stuff, because more and more people are getting the reviews in and stuff. But the reviews are amazing. And like I said, it's Thursday today. But when we see all of this, I'm so excited. It says right here, Thunderbolts has the longest post-credit scene in an MCU film. Scene is 2 minutes and 54 seconds long. I want to read a review, non-spoiler review. But I keep seeing, man, let's share this with you guys on the screen real quick. They're saying it is the best MCU movie since Endgame, which is insane. So right here, Thunderbolts debuts with a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, second highest score for an MCU movie ever. And this is from Discussing Film. Okay, so here's their film for Thunderbolts. The never-ending saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe appears to be approaching a final act of sorts, as the franchise's next 3 theatrical releases set the stage for a fresh start in the near future. Earlier this year, Captain America: Brave New World failed to deliver a story worthy of Sam Wilson's leading role as the Star-Spangled Hero due to its obligations to the wider MCU. This summer, Fantastic Four will introduce audiences to Marvel's first family in an alternate retro-inspired timeline, laying the groundwork for the Russo brothers in Avengers Doomsday and the sequel, blah, blah, blah. I want to hear about this movie. Okay. They say Thunderbolts is mostly a disconnected and standalone story. It also technically serves as a follow-up to many lingering threads from past feature films such as Black Widow, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Falcon and Winter Soldier, okay, so on and so forth. I want to find the reviews. I don't want to find, like, the backstory. Sorry, folks. Here we go. Thunderbolts impresses on a thematic level as well, treating its themes of suicidal ideation, depression, and isolation with great care. This can be seen in Lewis Pullman's magnetic portrayal of Bob, aka the Sentry, who I am so excited to see in live action. Who was thankfully never the butt of a joke. Marvel has a history of deflating hefty themes with cheap humor and weightless action, so this movie's general heartfelt message and commitment to that core theme are a welcome surprise. Every character in Thunderbolts is fighting both their internal and external conflicts. The narrative finds conclusions to these emotional dilemmas, not with a flashy laser show third act, but with human connection. Without exaggeration, this could be the most cohesive MCU film in some time. And that's cool. I am so very excited for this movie. Like I said, we're seeing it in 2 days. It's going to be a blast. I've seen so many good reviews. Rotten Tomatoes score is high. Everybody seems to be really happy. And people were making fun of this film when it got announced because they were saying, oh, it's just going to be Marvel's version of Suicide Squad. And it is so good to see a win for the MCU again. It's been a long time. Probably since Spider-Man No Way Home. Shang-Chi was really good. I really enjoyed Shang-Chi. But a big box office smash like No Way Home or Endgame. It'll be interesting. I can't wait to see it. They say right here, it's the first MCU entry in a long time that feels like it has a pulse and a true vision behind it. Although it never rises above the typical trappings of an MCU movie, it does make significant strides in addressing the weakness of previous installments. It's visually and thematically cohesive, full of likable characters and thrilling set pieces. Above all else, though, it succeeds in making us care about the misfit cast of tortured souls. Who knows what the future of the MCU holds, but as it stands, Thunderbolts is a great superhero flick and one of the biggest surprises of 2025. Hey man, I'm excited. I've been a big fan of the MCU since we started going to the movies to see them in 2012. Avengers was the first movie for the MCU that I saw, and tremendous memory, man. Went with my brothers and my grandpa, and amazing. Great experience. I remember sitting there for the post-credit scene, seeing Thanos for the first time, and I knew who he was. I followed the comics, followed Marvel. Whether that was like the cartoons, whether that was comics online and stuff, video games. It was a magical time, man. And believe it or not, we're seeing it with my grandpa, my brothers, and a couple more members of my family on Friday. So it'll be very fun, and it'll be very exciting. So I'm so happy to see that this movie has gotten great ratings, great reviews. Obviously, the reviews don't matter that much. It's just if you like it. Like I said, I didn't hate Captain America: Brave New World. I thought it was a fun movie. You know, I wouldn't watch it again, but you know, it was fun. You know, it was what it was. But this, I'm very excited for. And, yeah, hopefully it's really good. So we'll see how much money it makes at the box office. And, yeah, it'll be really fun. So that's it, folks. That's the show. A little bit of a shorter one today. We're just getting back to it. I promise to give more and more intriguing content, hopefully good content. Once again, please give the show a like. Give the show a sub. Watch the other content. I make very good content, I like to think. Anything that you can see here, go to the channel, watch it all. Subscribe, like, give a comment, a good comment. Maybe not a nasty comment, but you have to leave it, I get it. Nevertheless, hopefully Shannon Sharpe is able to be found innocent. Hopefully he didn't do anything too bad. But, yeah, it's been fun. We'll have another episode with Shide, but we're just getting back into it now, right? We're really close to finally getting monetized on YouTube, so I appreciate the hell out of you guys. Shide appreciates the hell out of you guys, too. And, yeah, we'll see ya.